bait must look delicious to the fish and taste good before the sting of the hook. Eve saw that the technology would benefit her greatly. The bait that come in the form of connecting with friends, to shop in Dubai while sitting in Ohio, to Skype with loved ones overseas, to find your way to places all over the world, asking for answers, seeking knowledge. Satan moving the chess pieces slowly across the board. You speak to your phone, it records your every word, all collected for the case he is building against you. For by every idle word man will be judged. The time has come where the tree is being merged with man. They claim that our only chance for survival is to merge with AI.
Like the more you are a tree, the less you know what the tree is. Like, let's say you look at a tree, you look at this plant or whatever, and like, hey, I'd really like to make that plant happy, but it's not saying a lot, you know?
So the more we increase the data rate that humans can intake and output, then that means the better, the higher the chance we have in a world full of AGIs.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be a world in the next couple of decades where it's hundreds of millions of people have Neuralinks?
Yeah, I do.
You think when they see the capabilities, the superhuman capabilities that are possible, and then the safety is demonstrated?
Yeah, if it's extremely safe, and you have and you can have superhuman abilities, and let's say you can upload your memories, so you wouldn't lose memories, then I think probably a lot of people would choose to have it.
The bait is shiny, and man cannot look away from what glitters. You can become more intelligent. You can remember everything. Control your computer with your mind. But an interface goes both ways. For where there is an output, there is an input. Yahusha gave us the complete prophecy of the end summed up in the letter X. They have placed this letter up as a banner for all to see, because near is the end, it is knocking at the door. As Yahuwah walked in the garden on the seventh day looking for Adam, so shall the Master return to the earth at the end of the sixth day. This is why Shabbat begins at dark on the sixth day, for the world will be full of darkness when he returns. The sixth day, the day of man, is coming to a close. Matthew 12:1. At that time, Yahusha went through the grain fields on the Shabbat, and his taught ones were hungry and began to pluck heads of grain to eat. The harvest is the end of the age, and man is the grain, plucking the last followers of the way, absorbing them into the body of Messiah. See, Messiah is the tree of life. Satan is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You will become part of one of these trees. When you become a follower of the way, you become grafted into that tree. You become a Akkad, which means united. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Echad. This means hear and discern, Israel. Yahuwah your Elohim is one. A wife becomes one with the husband. In this passage, notice that this is on the Shabbat, the seventh day. Matthew 12:2. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, Look, your taught ones are doing what is not right to do on the Shabbat. But he said to them, Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, he and those who were with him? How he went into the house of Elohim and ate the showbread, which was not right for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priest. In 1 Samuel chapter 21, David and his men were hungry and asked the Kohen for bread. The only bread that was there was the Kodesh bread. And the priest answered David and said, There is no ordinary bread on hand, but there is set apart bread, provided the young men, have kept themselves from women. And David answered the priest and said to him, Truly women have been kept from us about 3 days since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are set apart, and it is an ordinary mission, and also it was set apart in the vessel today. You see, love is the goal of the Torah. Doing good and being kind is how we are to be. This is fading from the earth. If you keep Torah in unkindness, then you have achieved nothing. For on the last days the world will be dark. He is showing us to be the light, to do good in every situation. Notice David and his men kept themselves from women. This is prophetic of the end. The maiden Yisrael approaches the mountain after the 3-day cleansing period, as seen in Exodus 19:9-11. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, See, I am coming to you in the thick cloud, so that the people hear when I speak with you and believe you forever. And Moshe reported the words of the people to Yahuwah. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Go to the people and set them apart today and tomorrow, and they shall wash their garments, and shall be prepared by the 3rd day. For on the 3rd day Yahuwah shall come down upon Mount Sinai before the eyes of all the people. And just as then, Yahuwah will return in the clouds on Mount Zion on the 7th day. Matthew 12:5. Or did you not read in the Torah that on the Shabbat the priest in a set-apart place profane the Shabbat and are blameless? But I say to you, in this place there is one greater than the set-apart place. This is a reference to the ascending offering made on the Shabbat, found in Numbers 28:10. The ascending offering for every Shabbat, besides the continual ascending offering with its drink offering. The continuing offering represents the prayers of the Kodesh. These prayers in the Mikdash will be cut off in the end of days, as spoken by the prophet Daniel in chapter 11, verse 31. And strong ones shall arise from him and profane the set-apart place, the stronghold, and take away that which is continual, and set up the abomination that lays waste. As Yahuwah walked in the garden and said, Where are you, Adam? Yahusha spoke these prophetic words while hanging on the cursed tree. Ali, Ali, lama azabtani. Which means, my ill, why have you forsaken me? For man will feel as if none of his prayers are being heard. The retainer is taken away, and the abomination is placed, causing Yahuwah to forsake man, and the wrath comes upon the earth. Matthew 12:7. And if you had known what this means, I desire compassion and not offering, you would not have condemned the blameless, for the son of Adam is the master of the Shabbat. Yahusha was telling him that this was a reference to when he would rule on the 7th day, for he will be master of all the earth on the 7th day, the master of the Shabbat, the time of the millennial reign. When the abomination of desolation is placed, many will be brought down to the pit, down into the belly of the great fish. We will go over this later in this study. Yahusha healing man on the Shabbat is allegorical to him returning and healing us on the 7,000th year, the renewed body of Messiah, the first resurrection. The Pharisees could only see the flesh and could not understand the beautiful spiritual meaning of what he was doing. But the Pharisees went out and took counsel against him so as to destroy him. The Pharisees could only see the letter of the law. That is why it is written, But the word of Yahuwah was to them command upon command, command upon command, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little, so that they go and shall stumble backwards and be broken and snared and taken captive. Therefore hear the word of Yahuwah, you men of scorn, who rule this people who are in Jerusalem, because you have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with Sheol we have effected a vision. When the overflowing scourge passes through, it does not come to us, for we have made lying our refuge, and under falsehood we have hidden ourselves. Therefore thus says the Master Yahuwah, see, I am laying in Zion a stone for a foundation, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a settled foundation. He who trusts shall not hasten away. This is Yahushua HaMashiach, our Messiah, the true cornerstone. This is why they stumbled in him. They could only see the Shabbat being broken because he healed and did good on it. They didn't understand he was binding on earth what is bound in the Shamayim. When he healed on the Shabbat, he is showing that he will be healing on the Shabbat, the 7,000th year. When he told the man in Yochanan John 5:8 to take up his bed and walk, he was showing that the resurrection would occur on the Shabbat, the 7,000th year. Men whose bed is in the earth shall rise up and walk. In Yochanan John 9, he heals a man blind from birth, again on the Shabbat, showing that during his reign he will heal all sicknesses. If you read Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, you will see that every day ends in this. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning. Day 1. This goes on until the Shabbat. But this is not written about the seventh day, because the Shabbat represents the beginning of eternity, the day that never ends, the day with Yahushua HaMashiach, our Messiah, the bringer of everlasting peace in his everlasting reign on earth. But there is a prophecy in Matthew 12 that shows why he said in Matthew 24:21, for then there shall be a great distress, such has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And if those days were not shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the sake of the chosen ones, those days shall be shortened. Bear in mind that when the first temple was sieged, the people were cannibals, casting lots for their children. Sodom and Gomorrah were raping and killing men, children, and women. Before the flood, the Nephilim nearly brought man to extinction through murder and witchcraft. But the time coming will be worse than all of that, and here is why. Matthew 12:22. Then they brought to him one who was demon-possessed, blind and dumb, and he healed him, so that the blind and dumb man both spoke and saw. This happened on the Shabbat, showing that man will be demon-possessed at the end of the 6th day. Ezekiel 36:26. And I shall give you a new heart, and put a new spirit within you, and shall take the heart of stone out of your flesh, and give you a heart of flesh. And put my spirit within you, and shall cause you to walk in my laws, and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I shall be your Elohim. The heart of stone is removed when he returns. But who has the heart of stone? Ayub, Job 41:1. Would you draw out Luatan with a hook, or snare his tongue with a line which you lower? Would you put a cord through his nose, or pierce his jaw with a hook? Would he keep pleading on with you? Would he speak softly to you? For Yahuwah speaks softly to us in the Ruach, guiding us on which way we shall go. Would he make a covenant with you to be taken as a servant forever? For it is Satan who wants to bind man, to make him his servant forever, to indwell him, the counterfeit of the Ruach HaKodesh. His spirit is called the Ruach HaRa'ah, the evil spirit. This is Strong's 74:51. This is the heart of stone in man. Job 41:24. His heart is as hard as stone, even as hard as the lower millstone. Zechariah 7:12. And they made their hearts like flint against hearing the Torah, and the words which Yahuwah of hosts had sent by his Spirit, through the former prophets. Therefore great wrath came from Yahuwah of hosts, and it came to be, as he called, they did not hear. So let them call, but I shall not hear, says Yahuwah of hosts. This is the heart of disobedience, Satan's heart, the heart of stone. Matthew 12:23. And all the crowds were amazed and said, Is this the son of David? But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, This one does not cast out demons except by Beelzebub, the ruler of the demons. We've seen in the odiote of the word Beelzebub that AI is inside of man's tent, leading man, controlling him. They are pushing this agenda for putting AI inside of man as we speak. Matthew 12:25. And Yahusha knew their thoughts and said to them, Every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then does his reign stand? Notice he says that Satan has a reign, and during this reign, man will be possessed. Further proof of this demonic possession is shown in Matthew 12:27. And if I, by Beelzebub, do cast out demons, by whom do your sons cast them out? Because of this they shall be your judges. But if I cast out demons by the Spirit of Elohim, then the reign of Elohim has come upon you. This shows that during the reign, at the beginning, they will be cast out. This in Revelation is the false prophet, the second beast who comes up out of the earth, made from the materials of the ground, a counterfeit of the word made manifest. It is a large language made manifest into the abomination that lays desolate, the manifested word of Satan. AI, which in Hebrew means both crown and ruin. Strong's 58:56. AI means a crown, a wreath, or a garland. It means a ruin, derived from the root word of atar, meaning to surround or to crown. Notice in Matthew 27 that the governor gathered an entire company of soldiers around him. They surrounded him. And this represents the body of Messiah, right? And having stripped him, like mankind being stripped naked, and put a scarlet robe upon him, and plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it on his head and mocked him. Okay, this is them proclaiming that this will happen to mankind, mocking him that they are going to do this to his people. Right now, if you look at what they're doing right now, XAI, XAI meaning crown. The letter X, if you look up X origin, letter X comes from the Phoenician letter Samek. Samek means thorn in Hebrew. A crown of thorn. A crown of thorns. XAI. Crown of thorns. They're mocking us. This is demonic. You can see the date, 923, when it was founded. They always use that number, 923. Chasson, Revelation 17:13. They have one mind, and they shall give their power and authority to the beast. Chasson, Revelation 18:2. And he cried with a mighty voice, saying, Babel the great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place for demons, a haunt for every unclean spirit, and a haunt for every unclean and hated bird. Matthew 12:29. Or how is one able to enter a strong man's house and plunder his goods, unless he first binds the strong man, and then he shall plunder his house? Satan is binding man by covenant. This covenant is the mark of the beast, as we have spoken. Matthew 12:30. He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters abroad. Because of this I say to you, all sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit shall not be forgiven men. Whoever speaks a word against the Son of Adam, it shall be forgiven him. But whoever speaks against the set-apart Spirit, it shall not be forgiven him, either in this age or in the age to come. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree rotten and its fruit rotten. For a tree is known by its fruit. Notice the two trees. Yahusha is the good tree that bears good fruit. When you are a believer in him, you become part of that tree and are indwelled with the Ruach HaKodesh. The opposite of this is the rotten tree, the Ashtaroth. This is Satan's tree, and when you are not a believer in Messiah, you become part of Satan's tree, and you will be indwelled with the Ruach HaRa'ah, the indwelling evil spirit. Brood of adders, how are you able to speak what is good, being wicked? For the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. The good man brings forth what is good from the good treasures of his heart. But the wicked man brings forth what is wicked from the wicked treasure. And I say to you that for every idle word men speak, they shall give an account of it in the day of judgment. Every idle word and thought will be known, man laid bare and naked. For by your words you shall be declared righteous, and by your words you shall be declared unrighteous. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, Teacher, we wish to see a sign from you. But he, answering, said to them, A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and no sign shall be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. So what is the sign of the prophet Jonah?